Well, business intelligence is really focused on enabling people in an organisation to make fact-based decisions. That's really what it means. So without it, a business is really at risk of making suboptimal decisions around how they allocate resources. So this can be for a number of reasons. Probably the first one is that they are making decisions based on gut feel rather than substantiated by evidence. The second is probably taking a siloed perspective, so the shortcomings of taking a siloed perspective. So one example I can give you is actually using one data source rather than multiple. So an example might be I look at the customer management system in order to prioritise some customers without looking at perhaps the financials around those customers. You know, the bringing together of different data sources is about closing the loop on your business processes, and that's really where we see a lot of businesses initially get the most gains from business intelligence, so identifying areas of revenue leakage. I really see that if we don't provide a platform for staff to share and collaborate on the interpretation of the information, not just centralising the delivery of reports, we're only halfway to a true business intelligence environment. Microsoft is the only vendor that really covers both of those aspects in the market. So they provide a data platform with SQL Server, but also a collaboration platform with SharePoint. So there's some great opportunities there to cover both of those aspects that we were talking about. And given that Excel is by far the most popular business intelligence tool in the world, it makes sense that they're enhancing the capabilities within that platform. The first example I'll talk about is one of our clients who's a franchise organisation with 100 sites. And they really struggled to get a single view of financial performance, utilisation of their services and products, and a single customer view across those disparate sites. So BizData actually delivered a solution based on SQL Server that brought all of that data in on a nightly basis and delivered that out through a series of reports. Now, the benefit to the organisation is not only do they have a consistent financial view, refreshed on a daily basis, but they've actually taken it to the next step where they actually use those reports deliver those reports as a service to their customers, and that's a competitive differentiator for them. So they see great benefits in that. The second example I want to talk about is a community health organisation. So business intelligence isn't just for corporates, it actually applies to public sector as well. Now this community health organisation, they're funded based on reports they submit to government. So they had some concerns around the accuracy of that. And anecdotally, they thought that the numbers were a bit lower than what they expected. So again, what we actually delivered was a SQL Server-based solution that brought that data together. First of all, to deliver some operational data integrity reports to make sure that the records were complete and ready for submission for funding. But the benefit of that was actually that they could drive much better training with the operators in the first place. So it's interesting how that stuff comes around. That's a good example of revenue leakage. So they actually clawed back about 20% or increased their funding by 20%, which is quite substantial. Well, I think the simple answer is that technology, unless you're a software company, is an enabler for business productivity. So you need to understand what business value you're providing. In order for any business to invest in anything, they need to understand what the return on investment is. I think all too often IT is disconnected from what the business is trying to do, and that is dysfunctional. In my experience of working in business intelligence for about 12 years, I think that there's some subtleties around business intelligence that are worth talking about. So on the one extreme, you have a highly governed but slow to move IT organisation. And on the other, you've got a highly reactive business area. So the trick is to try and bring those two worlds together, if you like. So I think IT needs to recognise that they need to enable innovation that comes from business, whilst at the same time educating them on the considerations for the future.